modernist jewelry movement from 1930 to 1960.
Well, the modernist jewelry movement, I usually call it the wearable art movement, and actually that's where the book came from. It was an article I wrote called The Wearable Art Movement, which was based on Walker exhibits that took place in 1948, 1955, and 59 at the Walker Art Institute in Minneapolis. They were sort of the first to recognize jewelry as art, and it was beginning in the 1930s that some of the art movements, the avant-garde, modernist movements in Europe, some of the teachers from Europe, teachers in the colleges here in the United States, were fleeing the Nazis and some of
the fascist
repression,
regime.
of European countries, and they came over here and they started teaching at colleges, and this sort of changing the way people saw art here. And some of these early jewelers were influenced by some of these art movements, such as surrealism, Sam Kramer, constructivism. I guess I think of Macchiarini as a constructivist jeweler. Cubism, you see a lot of cubism in Macchiarini jewelry. And abstract expressionists. Those people came over and here and taught in different colleges, and jewelers picked up on the art, and they were creating one-of-a-kind pieces of jewelry, and they were creating individual works of art. And there weren't that many people at that time that really understood. Actually, there aren't that many people now even who understand modernist jewelry. But it did take off in a way, and after the war, after World War II, there were more programs for metalsmiths, sponsored by the GI Bills, and then there just became a greater movement and more metalsmiths working in that tradition. Many of them were sculptors, many were architects, and some were just simply metalsmiths. And many made their living by making jewelry.
What did this kind of art look like? Can you describe it in general?
Well, there were, great variety. Because if you were doing Sam Kramer jewelry, sometimes you would just be dropping metal on a molten metal and making things look very surreal. If you were Ed Wiener, you were hammering each piece of silver, making abstract work. Macchiarini was doing his research, his pod pieces, which were influenced by Benjamin Bufano's interest in what was inside the egg. So they all expressed themselves in different ways. There's no way to say one particular what it looked like necessarily. Mm-hmm. Mostly abstract, though. For the most part. Mm-hmm. Though even some were figural in a modernist way. Mostly abstract, and a lot of silver, because at that time we didn't work with gold too much to begin with. Many of them couldn't afford to buy gold at first until they became more famous, and they could afford to make pieces out of gold. Mm-hmm. So we think of the early pieces mostly being silver or wood.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see jewelry heading?
Now, it's great. I see a lot of wonderful contemporary jewelers making one-of-a-kind pieces. In the 60s and 70s, it just burgeoned. There's such many more jewelers making wonderful works of art. And a lot of times, in the 70s, they made work that you couldn't really wear. It was more jewelry that was, it was called jewelry, but a lot of it you couldn't wear. It was just made to be a work of art.
Why couldn't you wear it?
Well, it'd be too massive, maybe just too massive.
I thought there were anything
jewelry.
in the 70s.
Some of it was really something you really could not wear. And I see a lot of production piece jewelry too, and that makes me sad. I see a lot of jewelers selling out jewelry, having their pieces made somewhere else. and making more pieces and then or designs and then sending them somewhere else to be manufactured. So I tend to collect pieces by people who make one of a kind.
Can I see the jewelry you're wearing? What's that piece?
This is a 1960s. It's actually a brooch, but I wear it as a pendant. It's by Peter Macchiarini.
Okay.
It's kind of a rare piece. You don't see too many of these pieces with wood, with the carved wood. And I love it. It has a really beautiful, soft feel to it. And he was first a wood carver. And he really wasn't a jeweler at first, and it was Margaret Dupata that convinced him to take his wood carving and make it into jewelry. So I find this is a wonderful piece because it has his signature wood carving with it's brass and silver.
Does it represent anything to you?
I'm told that it was a musical motif, and somebody today said it looks like a piano with maybe a treble clef sign. I think it's supposed to be a musical piece. Thinking jazz. I'm not sure.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else you want to say? Where you're from? Next
I'm
book?
from St. Louis, Mississippi, and my town was destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. So some of the proceeds of the sales today are going to Katrina victims. And I would like to write a book on Macchiarini, so we'll see how that goes.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. value.
Thank you for joining us.